You see, in the year 1930, there was this English economist by the name John Maynard, who thought, yeah, with the way technology is growing, in the future, people are going to be working 3 hours or maximum 4 hours per day. That was like 91 years ago. And you guess what? That guy was wrong. Because as I will show you in this video, the more technology we have in the world, which is supposed to do our work for us, the longer people work. And some people will watch this video and say, yeah, but work is part of nature. Is it not what human beings should do? Is working not a good thing? Where in the past, historically, that is not true. For example, in the year 1987, there was a study of these Hawaii people who live in a part of Brazil. They represented our hunter-gatherer ancestors. And it was discovered that our great ancestors were actually working between 3 and 4 hours every day. You guess what? Thousands of years after then, I'm talking about 1998 now, there's this study by an historian. His name is Azam Foot. He studied to know, like, how long did people work, for example, in the year 1750. And Foot discovered that people were actually working 11 hours around the year 1750. In France, for example, during the reign of the King Louis XIV, people were working as long as 12 hours per day. And in England, middle of 19th century, people were working as crazy as 16 hours per day. And you would think that is crazy, but wait for it, that is not even crazy. In the year 2013, July 2013, there is a Japanese guy by the name Miwasado. This guy actually died on his desk working because he has worked without taking any days off for like God knows how many months. So the question I pose to you right now is, why do we work longer and longer hours as we have more and more technology? When you think about what John Maynard said in 1930, you will find some sense there. He discovered that, okay, now that we are having more and more technology, it means technology is doing more and more work for us. So if technology is doing more and more work for us, it means we should work less and less. But the opposite is the case. So why is that the case? I'm going to tell you in this video. But before then, let me make my case very clear to you here for some people who do not understand. You see, in the past, our forefathers used to do everything by their hands. And I'll give you a few examples. For example, if you were born like 100 years ago and you want to communicate with your family members in like one distance place, you will have to sit down and write a letter to them. And you will take this letter to maybe post office, or you give it to somebody that can give it to them. And you will wait for the next 2 weeks or 2 months for that letter to come back. Now, compare that to today when you can grab your phone and send a WhatsApp message to somebody and the person see that message the same second. Okay, think about another example. Our forefathers used to use their hands to wash their clothes. You have to pack your clothes and go to a river. When I was in the village, you go to a river, then you use your hand to wash that cloth. Today, we just pick up our clothes, drop it in one machine, and they are washed. Another example, our mothers used to trek several miles just because they want to go and draw water. In the past, we did not have electricity in the world. We did not have computer. We did not have anything to do our work for us, whether commercial work or domestic work. So, does it not make sense that when we now have all this technology, we should work less? Yeah, that should make sense, right? But yeah, we work more, especially we work on things we don't even care about. So why is that the case? Okay, this is what happened. Even though there are so much advancement in technology all over the world, those advancements favors just few people in the world. Before you hate those people, pay attention, because some of these are going to be your fault. Okay, so let me give you an example of what I mean here. You see, if you want to start a business, for example, in 17th century, you have just one option, and that is retail. You go get some products and you start selling it. Now, if you have some money, then you go to manufacturing and banking, and after you have done this for 2 decades, maybe you will be in 3 cities, and maybe if you are lucky, you'll be in 7 states or 10 states of your country. And maybe in your lifetime, you make $1 million. And then you are dead. Then you are one of the richest people in the world. You guess what? We just happened to have a guy in 2004 who created a website called Facebook and become a billionaire by the year 2007. Just 3 years. The only thing that made that possible is because that guy could create his product from his dorm room and get people in India, people in Nigeria, people in South Africa, people in Canada to give him money. That was not possible just 50 years ago. Now, so technology has made life a whole lot easier for people who are smart. Now they can make money from anywhere in the world. Okay, let me give you my personal example. Just last 2 weeks or so, I was checking the numbers of people that are consuming my content and the product of my company on the internet, and I discovered, to my amazement, more than 500,000 people in more than 100 countries are coming in contact with things I created. That is only possible because of technology, because of something called the internet. Now, the problem, however, is there are only very few people in the world who are smart enough to take advantage of the technology. Now, everybody else go to work for those people. And that is why I think if you are truly smart, you should think twice about having a job that is taking life out of you, because we are in heaven right now. Literally, if you compare what the world is today, the advancement we have in technology, to what our forefather had just 200 years ago. If you wake up anybody that died 200 years ago into the present world, the person will not believe it is the same world he lived. He will not believe, for example, that you could be living in a house with air condition, because there was nothing like that. He wouldn't believe that this video will go to more than 70 countries. And I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. So, what do I want to achieve with this video? Well, I think, except you love your job, except you are crazily in love with your job, I think people who are smart should do something with their life other than having a job that they hate. So how exactly can you do that? So let me give you some recommendations. The first is, you have to have genuine appreciation for what we have today. How can you do that? Okay, this is how you can do it. Try to study a little of history. Try to study a little of history. Okay, try to know what the world used to look like just 100 years ago, and something in you will change. For example, if you were born 200 years ago, like there was no electricity, there was no commercial electricity. For example, you probably do not, if you die 200 years ago, you probably don't hear that word electricity in your entire life. There was no computer, there was no internet, there was no radio, no television. So many of the things we take for, don't even talk about automobile. One of the grandfathers of Nigeria wrote a book that is in my library here, and he was talking about how they would trek 175 kilometers in 2 weeks. That is the same distance I would drive in 4 hours today. Now, this is the point I'm making. One major reason why people, especially young people, take for granted the power we have to create our own life today is because they have no idea. They have no idea into what things used to be like in the past. So if, for example, you have insight into what the world used to look like, how little opportunity used to exist, how, like, if you are not born by the rich, you can't do nothing, that will open your mind into appreciating what we have today. I mean, that is what changed my life anyway. Because I study history, I get to understand that if I'm poor in this present world, it ought to be my fault. Because, like, you have too many things. You have too many things to create something. And it all starts from this. Another thing I think you should do if you're a smart person is, do not be carried away by these technologies, and do not let that get to your head to start thinking because you can send WhatsApp message from Nigeria to America in 3 seconds, the person sees it. It means you can achieve success with speed. Another thing I have observed among young people is that they really don't have idea that things take time. You really have to understand that even though we are in a world where there are so many opportunities, where our smartphone is like unbelievable powerful, creating something meaningful still take time. So you want to create a business, for example, you want to start a company, for example, like it might require that you go delete your social media profile and focus your entire time on building that business, that company. So another thing I think smart people should actually pay attention to is stop thinking like consumers. You know, our world is filled with a whole lot of people who are waiting for iPhone 17. Our world is filled with a whole lot of people who are waiting for whatever new thing that is coming out. Our world is filled with a whole lot of people who are excited about joining the Clubhouse, the Snapchat, the TikTok, or whatever new social media platform somebody created. It is only very few people who are busy in their secret room trying to study all these creations and companies and business and try to dissect and understand, why is Amazon a $2 trillion company? Why is Apple so successful when other competitors are failed? You know, when you stop being a consumer, something changes in your mind. And that is, you start paying attention to how things are created. And if you can understand how things are created, then you have insight into how you can create something worthwhile. I hope this video makes sense to somebody. The whole noise I'm making here is where I think, I'm not sure I'm right. I think if you are smart, if you're actually smart, you shouldn't live your life in 21st century working a job you hate. And maybe you have a job that you are passionate about and you can't even wake up in the morning without rushing to that office. Good for you. Now, you have a job that you don't like your boss, you don't like the job, you don't like the environment, and you are in 21st century. I think you shouldn't have that job. And what should you do if you don't want to have that job? Well, understand that you have the power. I hope I have explained some things in this video that make that to be a little bit understandable by some people. If you have any questions, please drop them at the comment box. I will try and respond to them. If you care about reading my books, yeah, you can check them at the description box. I love you.